In the spring of 2026, the Strait of Hormuz became the most dangerous stretch of water on the planet. What started as a regional conflict exploded into a full-scale maritime crisis when Iranian forces declared the strait effectively closed. Mines were laid in shipping lanes. Swarms of explosive drones targeted merchant vessels. Anti-ship ballistic missiles streaked across the narrow waterway. Tankers that once carried nearly 20 million barrels of oil per day now faced destruction or astronomical insurance costs. Global energy markets went into shock. In response, the United States deployed its most powerful naval assets. The supercarriers USS Gerald R. Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln, each commanding a full strike group of destroyers, cruisers, and submarines, positioned themselves to challenge Iran's blockade. This was power projection at its most dramatic. Two of America's nuclear-powered supercarriers operating together in one of the world's hottest flashpoints. The message was unmistakable. The U.S. Navy would not allow one of the planet's most critical maritime choke points to be held hostage. From the flight decks of these floating fortresses, F-35 Lightning IIs and Super Hornets launched round the clock. Below the surface, Virginia-class attack submarines patrolled silently. On the surface, advanced destroyers stood ready with Aegis systems tracking every Iranian move. The world watched as the stage was set for what many analysts called the most significant naval confrontation of the 21st century. The Strait of Hormuz is not just another waterway, it is the jugular of the world economy. At its narrowest point, the channel is only 21 miles wide. Yet every single day it carries roughly 1/5 of all the oil traded by sea on the planet. That is 20 million barrels of crude, plus massive volumes of liquefied natural gas. Asia's economic giants, China, India, Japan, South Korea, depend on this route for more than 80% of their imported oil. Europe and even parts of the United States feel the ripple effects the moment traffic slows. No pipeline network on Earth can replace it. Alternate routes through Saudi Arabia or the UAE are already at capacity and far more expensive. When Iran threatens to close the strait, the price of a barrel of oil can spike $20 in a single trading session. Insurance premiums for tankers skyrocket. Supply chains freeze. Stock exchanges from New York to Tokyo tremble. This is why every major navy on the planet has studied this choke point for decades, because controlling Hormuz means controlling the global price of energy itself. The 1980s tanker war proved how deadly this narrow sea can become. Now, in 2026, the stakes are even higher. Modern weapons travel faster, drones are cheaper, and the world is far more dependent on just-in-time energy delivery. One successful blockade could trigger the largest energy crisis since the 1970s oil shocks. Iran has spent 40 years perfecting a low-cost, high-impact strategy designed to make any naval confrontation in the strait as painful as possible for a superior force. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy operates thousands of fast attack boats, small, agile, heavily armed speedboats that can swarm larger warships in coordinated waves. Thousands of sea mines, both contact and influence types, have already been sown across shipping lanes. Above the water, Iran fields massive drone swarms, modified Shahid platforms turned into explosive kamikazes that are difficult to detect and cheap to lose. On the coastline, mobile launchers hide anti-ship ballistic missiles such as the Khalij-Fars and Fateh 313, capable of striking targets at supersonic speeds from hidden mountain bunkers. Midget submarines and coastal radar networks complete a layered defense that turns the strait into a deadly kill zone. The goal is simple: impose asymmetric costs. Force the United States to choose between risking billion-dollar warships or allowing the global economy to bleed. Iran has studied every American operation from the Red Sea to the Persian Gulf and refined its tactics accordingly. This is not conventional naval warfare, this is guerrilla warfare at sea, designed to bleed a superpower dry. The arrival of two full carrier strike groups changes everything. The USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest and most advanced supercarrier, brings electromagnetic catapults, advanced arresting gear, and the ability to launch and recover aircraft at unprecedented rates. Alongside her is the battle-hardened USS Abraham Lincoln, veteran of multiple deployments and now operating with the latest Block 3 Super Hornets and F-35 sea stealth fighters. Together they put more than 180 combat aircraft into the fight, an air wing larger than most countries' entire air forces. Escorting them are Arleigh Burke-class destroyers with Spy-6 radars, Ticonderoga-class cruisers, and Virginia-class nuclear attack submarines. The combined firepower is overwhelming. From standoff ranges outside the most dangerous missile envelopes, American aircraft can strike Iranian mine layers, drone bases, and coastal launch sites with precision munitions while the carriers themselves remain relatively safe. This dual-carrier presence is no accident. It is deliberate overmatch, a clear signal that the United States is willing to commit its most expensive and capable assets to keep the strait open. The message to Tehran is unmistakable. You may start the fight, but America will finish it. Behind the carriers lies an entire ecosystem of next-generation systems. Zumwalt-class stealth destroyers glide through the water like ghosts, their long-range hypersonic missiles capable of striking deep inland targets with hypersonic speed. Arleigh Burke Flight 3 ships carry the most powerful radar ever put to sea, turning the sky into a transparent battlefield. Mine countermeasures helicopters and unmanned underwater vehicles sweep lanes faster than any previous generation. Electronic warfare aircraft jam Iranian radars and communications in real time. P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol planes track every Iranian vessel from hundreds of miles away. Virginia-class submarines slip beneath the waves carrying advanced torpedoes and cruise missiles. Every platform is networked through secure satellite links, sharing targeting data faster than Iran can react. This is not just a fleet, it is a complete integrated kill web designed to dominate any maritime environment, even one as confined and dangerous as the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy is not simply sailing into the strait and hoping for the best. Decades of wargaming have produced a sophisticated playbook. Freedom of navigation operations backed by overwhelming air cover. Deception operations that mask true intentions. Mine-clearing operations protected by layered defenses. Intelligence fusion that tracks every Iranian boat and drone in real time. Lessons learned from the Red Sea campaign against the Houthis are being applied at scale. The goal is to raise the cost of Iranian aggression so high that Tehran eventually blinks, without triggering all-out war. Every move is calculated to demonstrate resolve while keeping escalation under control. The economic consequences of a prolonged closure are staggering. Oil prices have already spiked past $110 a barrel. Inflation is rising worldwide. China and India face energy shortages that could slow their economies dramatically. Europe scrambles for alternative supplies at premium prices. Even American consumers feel the pain at the pump. A wider conflict could draw in Russia and China, each with their own interests in the outcome. The risk of miscalculation is real. One stray missile, one mistaken identification, and the narrow strait could become the spark that ignites a larger war. The coming weeks and months will determine whether the Strait of Hormuz returns to being a vital artery of global commerce or remains a battlefield. The U.S. Navy has once again demonstrated its unique ability to project power across vast distances and respond to emerging threats at sea. But the challenges of modern naval warfare in contested choke points are only growing more complex. If you want to stay ahead of these high-stakes developments in naval strategy, maritime security, and great power competition, make sure to subscribe to Warfront Signals and turn on notifications. We bring you in-depth analysis of the world's most dangerous flashpoints and the military forces shaping our future. This confrontation in the Strait of Hormuz may be just the beginning of a new era of naval confrontation. Stay tuned.